Have you ever wondered, why do some people seem to attract success so effortlessly, while others struggle endlessly despite their hard work? Is it luck? Talent? Or is there a hidden truth no one ever told you? I used to believe that success was something to chase. Fast. Hard. Relentlessly. But then, I stumbled across a quote by Rohn that stopped me in my tracks. He said, "Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become." That one sentence unlocked something in me. Success doesn't begin out there. It begins within you. So I started diving deeper into the timeless principles Rohn shared. Principles that have transformed millions of lives around the world. In this article, I want to take you on that journey. Not with lectures or theories, but with real, relatable insights that might just click with you. If you're willing to listen, success is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become. Many of us believe that to be successful, we must relentlessly chase after opportunities, goals, and rewards in life. But here's the paradox: the more you chase success, the more exhausted, discouraged, and frustrated you might feel. It's like trying to catch your shadow. The faster you run, the farther it seems. Rohn said something profoundly powerful: success is something you attract by the person you become. This quote has changed how millions of people view personal development. Instead of focusing on getting something, we should turn inward and ask ourselves, who am I becoming? The essence of success lies not in pursuit, but in attraction. Just like a magnet can only attract metal when it has magnetic energy, a person can only attract success if they possess the right inner qualities: integrity, discipline, perseverance, a positive mindset, and the ability to create value for others. That's why personal growth is so crucial. When you change from within, your thinking, your habits, your perspective, the world around you changes in response. If you're lazy, negative, and undisciplined, even when opportunities appear, you're unlikely to hold on to them. But if you're consistent, eager to learn, and always improving, success won't just come once. It'll return again and stay longer. Becoming the best version of yourself is a journey, not a destination. It requires ongoing commitment, learning every day, making adjustments, and striving for higher standards. You need to refine your character, become someone who keeps their word, acts with integrity, and shows empathy. You need to build strong habits: reading, exercising, managing time, and setting clear goals. And most importantly, you must strengthen your mindset. Think bigger, think positively, and believe in your own potential. When you become a better version of yourself, you won't need to search for success. It will come looking for you. Others will notice the change in you. They'll trust you more, offer opportunities, and want to partner with you. You'll enter a positive loop where everything you need to succeed appears at the right time and place, because you've become ready to receive it. So instead of asking, "How do I become successful?" try asking, "How do I become the kind of person success is attracted to?" When you focus on becoming rather than getting, you don't just change the results, you transform your entire life journey. You can't attract success if you don't know what you want. One of the biggest reasons people feel lost in life is because they don't have clear goals. They wake up every morning, go to work, handle daily tasks, go to bed, and repeat the cycle endlessly. Then they wonder, why am I not successful yet? But the truth is, you can't arrive anywhere if you don't know where you're going. Rohn once said, "Success doesn't come to the wandering. It comes to those who are clear about what they want and are willing to pay the price to get it." Success does not visit those who drift. It belongs to those who have clarity and the courage to commit. There's an invisible power in clarity. When you are crystal clear about what you want to achieve, in 1 year, 5 years, or 10, you automatically activate your internal compass. Every decision you make becomes more aligned. Distractions lose their pull, Because you have a direction without clear goals. You easily get swept along by life, doing what others expect of you, living by societal or family standards. And one day, you look back and realize you've traveled far, but in the wrong direction. Goals not only keep you on track, they also help you grow into a better version of yourself. Every meaningful goal requires you to stretch, grow, and evolve. Want a successful career? You must learn to be productive, communicate effectively, and take responsibility. Want great health? You must eat better, exercise consistently, and conquer laziness. Want financial freedom? You must learn to save, invest, and say no to poor spending habits. That's why goals aren't just destinations. They are tools for growth, discipline, and internal development. So, how do you set clear goals? Be specific. I want to be successful is a wish, not a goal. I want to earn $4,000 per month from my business within 12 months. That's a goal. Write them down. A goal has power only when written and reviewed regularly. Break it down into actions. Big goals need to be broken into small, actionable steps. Align with your values. The best goals come from inner purpose, not outside pressure. Remember, the clearer the goal, the bolder the action. And when your actions are intentional, you begin producing results. Those results build confidence. Confidence fuels motivation, and motivation drives further growth. This is the cycle successful people live by. If I asked you today, what's your 5-year goal? Could you answer immediately with excitement and detail? If not, maybe it's time to pause, reflect, and write down what you truly want. Because you can't attract success if you don't even know what success means to you. You can have the best intentions in the world, but without the right habits and discipline, you'll keep spinning your wheels on the path to attracting success. Discipline and habits are your most loyal allies. Many people have big dreams, detailed plans, and good intentions. Yet, they give up after a few weeks, or never even start, because they're not ready, waiting for inspiration or the right time. But here's the truth: success doesn't wait for inspiration. It comes to those who have discipline. Rohn once said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day." Success isn't some grand mystery. It's a set of small actions, done daily with consistency and intent. Habits are like bricks building your future. Every small thing you do each day shapes the person you're becoming. If you consistently wake up early, read, exercise, and focus, you're programming yourself for success. On the other hand, if you often procrastinate, oversleep, eat poorly, or scroll endlessly on your phone, you're laying the groundwork for failure. Discipline is what keeps you going when things get hard, when motivation is gone, when results are slow, when everything seems to go wrong. In those moments, disciplined people keep showing up. They don't act based on feelings. They act based on commitment. But don't confuse discipline with being rigid or harsh. On the contrary, discipline is the highest form of self-love. When you choose discipline, you're saying to yourself, "I deserve a better life. I live by long-term goals, not short-term impulses." And discipline isn't a gift. It's a skill that can be trained, like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Start small, wake up on time, follow through on your promises, finish what you said you'd do. Every time you overcome laziness, you reinforce the belief, "I am a disciplined person." When you combine discipline with the right habits, you create a system that naturally leads you towards success. You don't have to wonder, "What should I do today?" You already have a rhythm that supports your growth. And it's this consistency in small actions that creates massive long-term results. A successful person isn't more talented than others. They simply stick to the right actions daily, even when no one is watching, even when no one's cheering them on. So review your habits. Are they taking you closer to your goals or pulling you further away? And ask yourself, do I have the discipline to live at the standard that success demands? Because in the end, success isn't magic. It's the result of doing the right things. Again and again. Over time. Positive thinking and gratitude. Two solid foundations for attracting success. Success is not only a result of action. It also stems from how you think. If you nurture a negative mindset filled with doubt, fear, and limitations, no matter how hard you work, you'll sabotage your own progress. On the other hand, when you cultivate a positive mindset, you begin to attract positive people, opportunities, and experiences into your life. Rohn once said, "Your mindset is like the soil where everything else grows." If your mental soil is dry and lifeless due to negativity and doubt, the seeds of action you plant will struggle to grow. But if your mind is rich with belief, hope, and optimism, everything you plant has a chance to flourish. Positive thinking is not blind optimism or pretending everything is fine. It's the deliberate choice to see challenges through a constructive lens. When difficulties arise, a positive thinker doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They ask, "What can I learn from this?" That simple shift in questioning opens the door to solutions, resilience, and growth. One of the closest allies of positive thinking is gratitude. Gratitude isn't a fleeting emotion reserved for when life goes well. It's a daily practice, a mindset you can choose intentionally. When you begin to notice and appreciate even the smallest blessings, a cup of coffee, a smile, your health, you realize how much abundance already exists in your life. In contrast, if you constantly focus on what you lack, you'll feel perpetually empty, dissatisfied, and discouraged. And when your mind is consumed by negativity, you emit energy that repels people and opportunities. Gratitude is a powerful magnet for more good things. People who live with gratitude don't just feel happier. They become more attractive. They carry an energy that draws others in, inspires trust, and opens doors. If you want to practice gratitude, start simple. Every morning or night, write down 3 things you're thankful for. They can be experiences, people, or quiet moments throughout your day. This exercise may seem small, but over time, it will shift your perception of the world. And when you change how you see the world changes how it sees you. Positive thinking and gratitude don't erase life's challenges, but they make you strong enough to face and overcome them. They won't eliminate obstacles, but they transform you, so you can keep moving forward instead of giving up. In the end, the person who attracts success is not someone who has a perfect life, but someone who can see the light even in the darkest times. They are the ones who choose to focus on the positive, appreciate what they have, and believe in what's yet to come. Success begins the moment you take 100% responsibility for your life. Nothing changes until you change. And you won't change until you realize, "I am responsible for my life." This is not just a phrase. It's a fundamental shift in mindset. From being a victim to becoming the creator. From waiting for life to happen to taking charge of it. Rohn once said, "If you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better." Simple words, but they hold the entire secret of personal growth. You can't wait for your environment, your boss, your partner, or the government to change before your life improves. You must change yourself first. Many people live in a state of blame. They blame their past, their circumstances, and other people. They blame growing up poor, unsupportive parents, unfair bosses, or an unforgiving world. But the truth is, when you blame, you give away your power. You hand over the keys to your life to someone else. On the other hand, successful people take complete ownership of their successes and their failures. If they fail, they don't make excuses or complain. They ask, "What did I learn? What can I improve?" And then they get back up and move forward as a better version of themselves. Personal responsibility doesn't mean you do everything alone. It means you are in charge of how you respond to what happens. You can't control the weather, the market, or what others think. But you can control your thoughts, emotions, and actions. When you choose to live responsibly, you start to see life through a new lens. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you ask, "What can I do to change this?" That shift in question moves you from stuck in the problem to focused on the solution. Personal responsibility gives you power. It transforms you from someone who reacts to life into someone who creates life. You stop waiting for good things to happen. You begin to create them. You stop hoping for luck. You start building skill. And the amazing part is, the more responsibility you take, the freer you become. Because you're no longer dependent on external factors to feel happy, successful, or confident. You become the owner, not just of your career, but of yourself. So ask yourself, am I blaming someone or something for where I am now? Am I waiting for something to change before I act? Am I living as if I'm a victim of circumstance? If yes, then it might be time to take back the wheel. That's the boldest decision you can make, to live like a person of responsibility. Remember, you can't attract success if you're not willing to take responsibility for it. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This familiar quote isn't just a catchy line. It's a powerful truth on the journey of personal growth and success. Your environment and your relationships deeply influence how you think, how you act, and ultimately, the results you create in your life. Rohn once said, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." Not because you need perfect friends, but because we are constantly, and often unconsciously, influenced by the energy, beliefs, and standards of those closest to us. If you're surrounded by negative people who complain, lack goals, or give up easily, you'll find yourself slowly becoming like them. Not because you're weak, but because negativity is contagious. You'll begin to feel it's normal to procrastinate, to quit, or to drift aimlessly, because that's what everyone around you does. On the other hand, if you're in the company of visionaries, disciplined doers, curious learners, you'll feel the positive pressure. They don't even need to advise you. Their way of life itself becomes inspiration. You'll want to improve, to work harder, to dream bigger, not out of competition, but because you realize, you can be like that too. The right relationships pull you forward. The wrong ones pull you back. There is no neutral zone. So if you're truly serious about your growth, take a look at your circle of influence. Who are you talking to the most each week? Are they feeding you positivity or draining your energy? Do they support your growth and your goals? Choosing your friends isn't selfish. It's responsible. You're selecting the psychological environment you live in daily. And the truth is, no one succeeds alone. Every great achiever has had the right people walking alongside them, uplifting them, challenging them, and at times, reminding them of their purpose when they forget. If you don't yet have a positive environment, start creating one. Join learning or personal growth communities. Read books by successful people. You'll converse with them through their pages. Find a mentor, someone ahead of you who is willing to guide and support. And if necessary, be brave enough to let go of toxic relationships. It may be painful, but you can't rise while being constantly pulled down by those who don't believe in you, support you, or keep planting seeds of doubt. Finally, remember, you don't have to walk alone, but you are responsible for who walks with you. Success doesn't come from isolation. It comes from the right alignment. Success doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most persistent and adaptable. On the journey toward your goals, you will face countless challenges: failure, rejection, doubt, lack of resources, and lack of confidence. There will be days when you lose motivation, when everything seems to work against you. In those moments, persistence is often the only thing that keeps you moving forward. Rohn once said, "Tough times don't last, But tough people do. Life will test you. But if you don't give up, you're already ahead of most people. Why? Because most people quit just before the breakthrough. They see failure as the end, while the persistent see failure as a lesson, a stepping stone along the path. Persistence doesn't mean blindly doing the same thing forever. Persistence means staying committed to your goal, while being flexible with your approach. You need to know when to push harder and when to pivot. A wise person doesn't try to break through a wall with their head. They look for a door, or build a ladder. The world changes every day. What works today might not work tomorrow. That's why, to succeed in the long run, you need more than just grit. You need adaptability. Adaptability doesn't mean changing your goal every week. It means adjusting your methods to match the environment. Successful people don't get stuck in one path. They're open to learning, shifting, and experimenting. Persistence is what carries you through the long haul. Adaptability is what helps you survive the sharp turns. When you combine both, you not only go far, you go in the right direction. And yes, you will fail. That's guaranteed. But you will learn more from failure than any book can ever teach. Each time you rise after falling, you become stronger, wiser, and deeper. The key is not to never fall, but to never stay down. So how can you build persistence and adaptability? Remember why you started. The goal may tire you, but a strong reason will pull you through. Set realistic expectations. Success doesn't come overnight. It comes after hundreds of nights of quiet effort. Be like water. When it hits a rock, it flows around it. When it meets fire, it evaporates. When cold enough, it becomes ice. In every form, it finds its way. Lastly, don't measure your progress only by short-term results. Measure it by your resilience, your growth, and your commitment to the journey. Success isn't about having arrived. It's about not quitting along the way. Success seeks out those who create value, not those who only seek to receive. We often hear the saying, if you want to succeed, give before you receive. But in today's world, where many are chasing titles and self-interest, the act of giving, of creating real value for others, has become rare and precious. That's why those who know how to create value become magnets for opportunity, relationships, and trust. Rohn once said, success is attracted to the person who adds more value than they take. Success doesn't come to those who only ask for more. It comes to those who solve problems, who help, who make other people's lives better, no matter what role they're in. Creating value doesn't mean doing something grand or heroic. It can be small actions, done with the right spirit, helping a colleague with something you're good at, taking initiative instead of waiting for instructions, communicating kindly and uplifting the energy in the room, putting care and effort into your tasks, even the small ones. When you shift from what do I get to how can I help, you step into a different level of thinking, the mindset of a person of value. And people of value are always in demand. Look at successful companies, brands, or individuals. They all have one thing in common: they solve real problems for someone. People trust them, recommend them, and are willing to pay for the value they provide. And the amazing thing is, the value you give to others always returns to you. Somehow, some way. It may not be immediate, but it's inevitable. It's the eternal law of sowing and reaping. The more you help others rise, the more you rise. The more you give sincerely, the more you receive sustainably. But the value you offer isn't just in your skills. It's also in who you are inside. Integrity, character, trustworthiness. These are invisible forms of value that people can feel. No one wants to work long-term with someone dishonest, lazy, or self-serving. So if you want to become someone who attracts success, begin by asking, how can I create value today? Whether it's at work, in a relationship, or within your community, come with a spirit of contribution. Over time, you'll find yourself becoming distinct, influential, and irreplaceable, because in the end, success doesn't go to the one who demands the most. It goes to the one who gives the most. Success is something you attract, not something you chase. Looking back at the full journey through Jim Rohn's wisdom, one undeniable truth stands out: success doesn't come from speed or luck. It comes from the person you become, day by day. You don't need to chase success frantically. When you develop yourself, set clear and compelling goals, build strong habits and discipline, cultivate a positive mindset and gratitude, take full responsibility for your life, surround yourself with the right people, stay persistent and adaptable, focus on adding value to others, then success will naturally be attracted to you. You don't need to run after it. It will find its way to you, because you have become the kind of person that success wants to be around. This is not a quick fix or a shortcut to wealth. This is a life philosophy, a path that requires effort, self-awareness, and consistency. But if you commit to it, the results won't just be external success, money, fame, recognition, but also internal success, peace, confidence, and the deep sense that your life truly matters. Jim Rohn once emphasized, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. That advice is just as relevant today, perhaps even more so. So tomorrow morning, instead of asking, what do I need to do to be successful, ask yourself, who do I need to become today? When you become someone worthy of success, you will never have to chase it again. Success will find you. Thank you for taking the time to read this far. I hope that Jim Rohn's timeless lessons have brought you inspiration, clarity, and the motivation to become the best version of yourself. If you found this post valuable, feel free to hit like, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you won't miss upcoming content. Got a question, thought, or personal insight to share? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story and grow together. We grow stronger through connection. Let's start the conversation right here.